is up, coaches, cheerleaders, and Warp Spawn? Today we've got Olivier from deathpitch.com, and who's also working on the Deathpitch app. I noticed some of his posts on the Blood Bowl community group, and I thought it seemed like a really interesting tool, and I'm always in favor of something that makes Blood Bowl easier or possibly draws more people into it, and it addressed some of the things that I had seen as either problems or inconveniences while I was playing too. So, wanted to have him on the show and get a few words out of him. How are you doing today?
Oh, thank you, Steve. I'm doing good. I'm pretty excited to be on the podcast. I've never done a podcast, so it's fun. And it's Blood Bowl, so it's always fun.
Absolutely. What got you into Blood Bowl exactly? What's your backstory?
All right. So I'm getting old. So I'm a child of the '70s and the '80s. So I grew up, and I picked up Blood Bowl. I'm from France, so I picked up Blood Bowl in the '80s at my local game shop. I think it was 1987. I can't remember actually. It was the first edition, right? So, and I loved playing the game with my brother at the time. It was mostly just him. He accused me of cheating all the time, which wasn't true. I just couldn't understand the rules really.
Well, maybe you should have stopped cheating then.
I wasn't cheating. I swear, I'm not a cheater, and maybe the rules were confusing, kind of loose.
Right.
In the first edition, yeah. And then when I moved to Coeur d'Alene here in Idaho, I saw a Blood Bowl group, and I was like, "This is awesome! It's the winter. I'm freezing my butt. There's nothing to do. I'm just gonna go play Blood Bowl." And it was super different, obviously. Then the rules had changed. I was terrible at it. I got my ass kicked so many times. And I just kept playing with friends. I loved it so much. And then I was like, you know what? Like you said, those things could be in an app.
Yep.
And I created the app.
Nice.
Yeah.
How do you usually play? Are you more of a league guy, tournaments? You just do pickup games?
Yeah. I mean, the Blood Bowl scene locally is not as big as I wish it could. So we usually have a league that's organized maybe twice a year at the local shop.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a Real Deal Tabletop managed by Dale, and he's been very supportive with the app actually. So shout out to him. And he organizes the league like twice a year basically, with some weekends with like a pre-league tournament where we can get some SPPs and build a team. And so he's been really good at it. So yeah, but other than that, there's not much actually. Coeur d'Alene is next to Spokane. I don't think they have any Spokane Blood Bowl league. So I wish it was bigger. Sometimes I fancy living in England and play Blood Bowl all the time.
Yeah, England or Florida? Florida has a crazy
Yeah,
scene.
Florida's huge. Yeah.
Like every other weekend, they got a tournament going on somewhere.
Yeah. I actually consider moving to Florida just for Blood Bowl.
I'm going down there for Chaos Cups, so I'll scout it out for you and let you know what I think. But
yeah, it's just too hot for me now. But yeah.
So overall, we've talked a little bit about this, but what kind of, not just what inspired you to make the app, but what was the thing that kind of pushed you to take that first step to start working on it?
It's basically the spreadsheet. I was like, this is stupid. As much as I like working with paper, I still take notes. I still write like architectural diagrams when I do my software job on paper, actually. I was tired of scraping and scratching and erasing on that sheet, and I was like, there must be a better way. So that's how I started first. I just wanted to find a way to keep the data for a long time and output the spreadsheet so I could bring that to the game, while being able to modify the numbers after the game, or just entering the touchdowns, the casualties.
Yep.
After I was done with the game, and just keep that around. So that's how it started. Also, I talked to Dale, the game shop owner, and I just wanted to organize the league and keep the standings around. I also wanted to see other people's teams, but there was some kind of roadblock around this. I don't think people wanted to initially use the app actually to record their team. So that's been a bit of a challenge. Actually, people are used to the paper. I'm not. I don't like it. But that was the motivation. It was actually for me. I was like, I need to build something where I can generate that spreadsheet. So I started building a team management system. Also the budgeting. I was like, I don't want to do the math.
Right.
I'm not too maths. I mean, I'm good in math, but not great. And but also, I'm kind of lazy when it comes to calculating stuff. So I was like, the computer can do the math for me, and that's basically that was the motivation, creating that team budgeting tool where I'm like, okay, I need to add. I want to pick two primary skills, for example. That's going to cost me that much. I want a
Right.
cheerleader. That's going to cost me that much, and that's it, with a max budget, for example. That's how I started.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people can agree on that. Like, there's been several people that I've taught that if they're experienced in other games, I can say your budget is this. Here's, open
Mhm.
up to the team list page, and then they can kind of go through and figure it out. And I'm like, if you want any help, I can help you pick it out. Otherwise, you can add it up. And then there's some people who, if they haven't played other games, especially, will
Mhm.
look at that and they just get wide eyed and they're like, okay, what am I
Yeah.
doing? It's like, what are inducements? And I'm like, oh, it's all of these things spread across 14 pages through 14 books. Have fun. It's,
Yeah, well, especially when most leagues don't actually do the million budget. They always do like, okay, you got 1.2, and then
mhm.
you have tier one, you can pick two skills, but if you have tier two, you can pick three. And I was like, okay, this is getting complicated. I need a budget. I need something easy for me because I can't do it. It's just
Yeah,
too,
that's how tournament
yeah.
packs are too. I know that leading up to the World Cup, there was a lot of back and forth about, oh,
Hmm.
this one too complicated, that kind of thing. And it would be cool to see like plugins for specific tournament packs too, where
Hmm.
maybe if things are well enough oriented, then they might not have to do you could possibly in the future skip like the roster check phase because just for example with Chaos Cup coming up, we're having to submit our rosters like a month early or a month and change,
Hmm.
which is totally reasonable. But
Yeah.
one person has to go through each of the 200 whatever rosters and be like, okay, does this match the skill pack?
Oh.
One by one, and things like that. Like I can't even imagine validating rosters for World Cup. That would have been crazy.
Yeah, well, that's why you need an app. Actually, Deathwish could do it. You could say, "This is my roster rules," and check all the teams against it.
Cool.
That would be a nice, actually a nice use case.
Yeah.
If they wanted me to build it, I could build it. I mean, that'd be cool actually.
And I'm glad, honestly, that I'm able to get to talk to you kind of at the start of this project so that we can get a little bit of light shown on it and
Hmm.
just so we can see where it goes. I mean, it sounds really cool. I like it. And I don't think, like, you hear some people talk about some things and the scope of the project is so out there that it doesn't feel
Hmm.
like it's possible for it to work. Like it's like a Kickstarter or something. With this, it feels really feasible. And especially
Yeah,
talking to you, just chit chatting and hearing your background, it sounds really solid. Do you
yeah. I
want
mean,
to?
I've 20 years of over 20 years of experience in the software industry, so that's pretty much all I've done.
Yeah.
From design, I started in design actually, and the other thing too, I want to create something that's not too spreadsheet like because
Hmm.
it's very easy to copy the real world and
Yeah.
just try to put it on the computer, but it's not user friendly. And I still have some improvements to make, but I really want it to be like, okay, this has to be in line with the process of playing the game. Like you're at a game and then you need to press a button to increase your touchdowns.
Hmm.
It can't just be in like a spreadsheet that you're filling out every time. That's not gonna fly on a cell phone.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
something that you've seen a lot too with companies like with other tabletop games or card games or whatever. You might have like a life point counter or something that also has a
mhm.
built-in dice roller or coin flipper to see who goes first, things like that. I think we're going to end up seeing a whole lot more of that stuff in the future.
Yeah,
So any
yeah,
steps towards that, I believe, are very positive.
yeah.
You want to take us through some of what the app can do?
All right. Okay, so let's do a quick demo. So I'm just going to focus on the team building aspect of things. The league management system was really meant to be used for my local league. I really didn't spend much time on it because when I talk to people, they mostly want to focus on the team building. That's why I just added recently Sevens, Gutter Bowl, and Dungeon Bowl. Like in the last couple of weeks, I added that. So basically, again, like my motivation was to be able to budget a team, right? So let's say I want to take the new Vampire team.
Hmm.
Um, this is what you can do. So you have a max budget, which obviously is going to change based on the game. So if you have Blood Bowl 7, I think it's 600K.
Right.
Um, so you can pick whoever you want. Let's say 10 linemen, and then you want a couple of runners. So the system will show you like you're above budget. You don't have enough positioning. You don't have enough. I don't know, let's say a lineman or whatnot. If you want to change your budget, you can always change your budget. Let's say you want to go to 2 millions, which you can, and then you can save. And then as soon as you save, you've got an official team that you can play with. So in that case, now you have a team that's saved in the system. You can modify the information. You can modify the inducements. You can obviously, more importantly, you have a game. You can record touchdowns, and then that will calculate the SPPs. You can also edit that manually just in case you have an NFL player, for example, and you need to change the number of points that you get for a touchdown. And then you save. And see, this guy now has 2 touchdowns. The SPPs have changed. And you're like, okay, maybe I can upgrade this guy now. So you click on this. And you can select all the skills that you want to change. Either randomly, the system will randomize the skill. You don't have to roll dice. But if for some reason, initially I didn't have that, but for some reason, let's say you roll the dice after the game and then you still want to put in the system, you can actually toggle that and basically pick the skill that you picked. Obviously, we don't want people to cheat, but it's possible to cheat using the app. So let's say you want to use the system. You can say, all right, so I'm going to pick a skill randomly. I'm going to level up. Boom. Safe pair of hands was picked for me. All right, so now you got safe pair of hands, and if you don't know what it is, then you can click on it and look at it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really convenient.
Yeah, it is super convenient because sometimes I don't even know the skills, and sometimes I don't even memorize things well. So I'm like, okay, I think I looked into this last week, but I can't remember what it does. Mm-hmm. So you got all the skills like this. You can obviously modify again the inducements for your team. So you got an extra dedicated fan. You can just do that. Boom, and it's saved. You can obviously add players as well. So this will take into account how many players you can add, and then it will also tell you, okay, you can add 4 here, and this is the max treasury that you have.
And so all of this is occurring like client side, like this is all stored locally.
Yeah, it's it goes against a database. Okay. All the math and the computation is local. Okay. So if you have a mobile phone, it will be on your mobile phone, but it's saved remotely. Okay. So and then obviously once you save a team, you've got the list of teams that you have. So I got my skinny boys and my cheek freaks from playing here locally. Skinny boys got their ass kicked by the dwarves last time. And obviously I've got different tabs in case you have a different game. If you play a sevens or play a dungeon bowl.
Yeah.
But going back to the teams, you can also there's something I introduced recently is you can actually look at a player log. So everything is logged in the system. So I'm planning on having there's a guy named, I think it's Cool Kiwi on the Discord channel for Death Pitch. He asked me to be able to roll back changes in case you make a mistake. So it's something I'm planning eventually where you can say, oh, I killed that change and just go back to a previous version of your team. Because right now it's not flexible enough in terms of, like, let's say you want to, you edited the wrong skill and then you want to revert that. Right now, I don't allow it, which is kind of a problem.
Yeah.
So and then obviously you can change the status. So let's say this guy got banged up and you have a niggling injury, which triggers missing next game. Mm-hmm. Then you can just do that, save, boom, and now this guy is missing next game.
That's cool being able to see, like, I guess the activity flow of what all has happened with the team and the players too.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned being able to manually mark like random skills and stuff, but it's not like there's not accountability. You can't just go back down.
Right.
And see.
Yeah. And so that's the edit version of things. Also, I recently introduced this. That's just a minor UI thing, but you can also switch the UI to be a bit more compact because there's a lot of information on the screens, right? So sometimes it's kind of annoying. Also, you can sort by position. Let's say you want to see all your linemen. Then, and obviously you can download a spreadsheet. Boom. So because this was obviously my first motivation was to generate that spreadsheet. So now, and then you can bring it to the game. So that's for the team management aspect of things. Also, I'm planning to beef that up, but I think the social aspect could be interesting because every single player is public in terms of their team being accessible in the app. So, for example, this is the public version of my team. So let's say you have a game, you want to prepare against your opponent, see what's going on with this team. You can always go like Olivier, and then you can see my team, and you're like, okay, I know this is number one is missing next game. I know he's got those skills, and you can get ready for it. Maybe you can game plan a little bit,
Yep. Yeah, it's better than having somebody sit there for 20 minutes trying to pick out their endorsements.
Yeah, and also there's a product profile. Obviously, don't have a good record. But this is basically my teams and my latest results against my local opponents here in the league. So I'm planning to beef that up as well. I want to do some leaderboards so that people can basically have their teams and see how they rank, and have the top players. Let's say that would be really fun. And see like if you have a Morgan Thorg maybe in the world, like an actual one, like a guy who's just as an amazing player. So that's the team management aspect of things. I think that's the best one in the app. I've introduced a few helpers like skills. Obviously, is the big one. So if you go to skills, you can actually look at all the skills. I need to reword some of them, but basically you can pick, category wise. You can also alphabetically you can find a skill, and then you can just look at all the details.
That's really convenient.
So if you want to look at bloodlust, it's already in the system. I need to beef that up. The description is not very good.
I was gonna say earlier, I think bloodlust will probably be like the most clicked button for a while.
Yeah, it's actually a complicated trait to me. Yeah, it's verbose and it's confusing. Throwing templates as well, just in case, and a game clock. Interestingly enough, I had a guy who said, "Hey, I can't find a game clock for Blood Bowl."
Yeah, I'll be in one place that's really nice.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna build it, and I had fun. I built it in a day, basically. And this is a way where you can actually set up, game time is 3 hours, number of turns per player 16, and time credit mode is what he was looking for actually. Meaning, if you have used 2 minutes of your first turn and it's supposed to be 5 minutes, you can actually take those 3 minutes back to the next turn.
Okay.
Because most clocks don't do that. So I built that for him, and so basically you can just click on the player and then it triggers the clock, and then you switch. That's really I have a bug where at halftime I should not switch this way, but I haven't worked on it in a long time. But just this little tools to help the Blood Bowl community. That's my goal basically.
Yeah.
And then the clubs, I wanted to list clubs. That's just this is how I wanted to find a place to play Blood Bowl. So I was like, well, I'm gonna build also a locator for Blood Bowl clubs and where people play.
Yeah, visibility is really important. It's one of those things. Eventually, people figure out they can go to the NAF website to figure out where tournaments are, which I would think is like the majority of the tournaments that get run, but there's still times where I'll find out, oh, these people have been playing, and they were a 2-hour drive from me, and I just didn't know this for a long time. You just kind of find out happenstance. But the more places we have where it's just got lists and people can submit stuff to hype up what they're putting their energy into running too.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just a bunch of friends. It doesn't have to be an official place. It can just be a bunch of friends. It can be a shop. Actually, shops are really good at, building the community around Blood Bowl. I mean, without my local shop, there wouldn't be any Blood Bowl here. So, I'm really thankful for Dale actually. So yeah, that's overall. That's the app. It's available in the iOS App Store right now. Android version is. I can send beta to people, but I still have to go through the approval process with Google. But it's pretty much it's available as a beta, and I'm planning to add more features. So I've got a bunch of features in the pipeline. I want people to chime in, obviously, because I want people to tell me what they need. That's how I operate. I don't build stuff just for me. So any feedback is welcome. Obviously, bugs, all that stuff is. I'm a one man show, so it's not. I'm not making money on this. So it's basically in the early hours of the day, usually, and the weekends that I'm working on this. Get up at 3, 4 a.m. and first thing I do in the morning is work on this, fix bugs. It's actually fun. I'm enjoying my life right now building this thing.
That's good.
Yeah. So I want to add more stuff. I want to potentially beef up the app in terms of visuals. So my plan is to, and I got asked for uploading minis and pictures of teams and players in the app. So I'm planning to enable this. I think that'll be really fun. I love looking at minis that people paint. I'm a terrible painter. I just this winter I promised myself I will get into it, but I'm terrible at it. Not it takes practice, but I'm just like I'm not patient enough with myself to be able to get good results. I'm so much better with code where I get instant gratification.
Well,
Now,
there's definitely there's different approaches for it, but if I get I guess too focused on my projects, being elaborate or something, I will absolutely just burn out all my stamina on that right away. So some
yeah,
of them I
yeah,
tell myself, this is just gonna be tabletop standard. This team, I'm not doing
hmm
anything fancy. If I want to go back and add the detail, I will. Then others are like a
yeah,
whole thing, But it's
yeah.
definitely a thing. Like I love painting, but I also it's really really easy for me to run out of energy to want to paint.
Yeah. I also have terrible eyesight, so when it gets
Oh, okay.
close, I see bad. I see badly. So I just got magnifying glasses actually recently, so I can put this on my face with a light and just look at them because I can't paint. I just have to use a magnifying glass all the time. Um, so yeah, so I'm planning to do this, and eventually, I want to beef up maybe the league stuff, and because right now I don't have any playoff system, for example. So maybe allow people to enter matchup data even without a league, so they can record their results and stuff like that. So I don't know yet, but if people have ideas, I'm always welcome, and this is how I work. What people need, I build, and I build pretty fast actually.
What's the
So
best place for somebody to contact you?
they can go on the website, deathpitch.com. It's actually a pretty memorable name. I think my marketing background actually helped me pick that one because it makes sense, right? And then just Discord channel is listed on the page as well. So you
Okay,
can go
cool.
on the Facebook page as well, and reach out that way. My email is actually bbdeathpitch@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm happy to get feedback, suggestions, criticism, and bugs. Um,
Yeah, and
and I make the app better.
I've seen you interacting on Facebook with a bunch of people already.
Yeah,
Like I said, that's where I noticed in the first place. So this seems like a really exciting project. I think it's just going to be a positive thing overall for everybody.
yeah,
And I'm excited to see all the features and stuff roll out too. So, well, thanks for
yeah. I love
talking.
it. I actually love communicating with the people. I think that's the. I'm a tech guy, but again, I'm not a tech guy. I become a tech guy, but I'm a very social human creature. I love interacting with people. I
Hmm.
love getting feedback. I love making them happy. I mean, the clock stuff, the guy asked, I'm like, why would you build something for one guy, right?
Right.
But I was like, okay, that makes sense. It's fun. I'm just going to work on this today, and I'll see where it goes. And if he's happy, then I'm happy.
Well, just with the
Yeah,
functionality I've seen in the clock there, it's already better than several of the apps I tried to download that only, were a clock. So,
yeah, and free.
yeah.
So I'm planning on keeping a lot of stuff free. I don't have any server costs right now. It's just my time, basically. If I end up having server costs, then maybe I'll have to find something to do. But right now, it's just that's not my goal. Like it's really, for me, it's pure fun, pure creativity, pure Blood Bowl community. Just having a blast. Like people say sometimes you find meaning in your life by serving other people.
Hmm.
That's given me meaning basically because I feel like I'm serving Blood Bowl people all over the planet. So that's been satisfying.
Yeah, I definitely understand that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming on today. Was there anybody you wanted to throw any shout outs to?
I would say Dale, my local shop owner who organizes the leagues and has been very supportive of the app and giving me feedback from the very beginning. So I'm grateful to him and all the people at the shop. Obviously, all the people I've talked to building this app on Facebook and Discord, all the people that gave me feedback, also finding bugs because again, I'm a one man show and I cannot find all the bugs possible. So it's great when people report a bug. I try to fix it as quick as I can, and I'm happy you had me over. I mean, it's pretty exciting. Never been on a podcast, so it's super fun.
Yeah, I'd like to. If I see stuff in the community that I think deserves more of a spotlight, then if I can provide that, then yay, you know. Like I
Yeah,
said,
thank
everybody
you.
wins, and again, I'm not making money off this. You know, it's one of those
Yeah,
things where we're just doing it because we actually enjoy the game and we enjoy doing it in
yeah,
the community and everything about it. So,
yeah, yeah. A game has brought me a lot of joy in my life. Actually, in the past few years, I met maybe my best friend, William.
hmm
Shout out to William. He's a older gentleman, but he's become my best friend. He's like a brother now, just by playing Blood Bowl.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I've heard stories like that a lot.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
because
for.
we live in a world that's just so remote now, where everybody's just on their computers, and I think playing board games. Doesn't have to be Blood Bowl, but it's and locally too, and finding friends, and it's good for you. It's good for your soul, actually.
hmm Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on today. Excited to see what's
Thanks.
going on. Any links or anything mentioned, email addresses, etc., will all be in the description here for anybody who's
Okay.
interested. Um, I would encourage everybody. We'll keep y'all updated for whenever it comes out on the Android store as well, and maybe we can get a little feedback crew going for you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
sounds good. All right. Thanks for coming on today.
Keep on watching.